Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gallagher, and I'm here to talk to you today about charter schools. So at first, I want to start off by asking you guys a question. How many of you attended public school? How many of you have had jobs within your state, either in Pennsylvania or anywhere where you reside? So majority of you guys pay taxes, and tax money, it goes to the government. They use it for the various jobs of the government, including public schools. So your money funds public schools, right? So that brings me to my topic of charter schools, and I'm not sure many of you know what that is, so here's a good recap of what charter schools are. A charter school is a publicly funded elementary or secondary school, which means it's part of the public education school system. It's freed from some of the rules, regulations, and statutes of a public school regarding like PSSAs and standardized testing and some accountability for the producing certain results. So all charter schools have a charter or something that they must stand by or follow that gives them their rules and regulations for that particular school. So a charter school is within that certain school district. For example, Reading School District, let's say there's a GI charter school. It's through Reading School District. It's part of that school since it's a public school. So I did attend public school and I do pay taxes. I am a citizen of Pennsylvania and resident of Pennsylvania, so I pay for the charter schools that are within Pennsylvania. So here's some benefits of charter schools before I start off. They don't need to follow government regulation. They have less restrictions on what they need to do. They have their own ways of teaching, and they have greater accountability. They are specialized, where it can help kids in mathematics or sciences, something like particular. But there's a lot of negative aspects of charter schools, which is why I don't agree with what they stand for or what charter school is. So, charter schools negatively affect the public education system because they are costly, unjustified, and exclusive. I believe that charter schools are hurting our public education system and are unnecessary for various reasons. So, for my first point, charter schools are costly in more ways than one. According to the Philadelphia City paper, for Pennsylvania, Governor Tom Corbett cut $860 million from PA public schools, funding charter schools. So he's taking money out of the public schools, the traditional public schools, and funding them into charter schools. We already have much failing and really bad public schools in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. Why would the governor want to do that? You're taking money out of the public schools to fund charter schools, which haven't even proven to be better or more effective than traditional public schools. So that picture up there shows Corbett actually pouring like pennies from public schools into charter schools. And I thought we're all on the same team here. I thought we're all public schools. So the other thing is, in Philadelphia, charter expansions approved this spring will cost indebted system $139 million in the next 5 years. So we're constantly losing money for these charter schools throughout the next few years of the improvement of schools. And it's just really hurting the state's costs and other costs all over the nation for charter schools. Since they have funding from public schools, they don't have that much. So they also need public donations and local donations to help them figure out how to fund their schools. So there's a negative aspect of that. Their facilities are not up to par. They're small, they have less resources, they can't afford transportation, so the parents must transport these children in the charter schools there and back to school, which not many parents can do. Everyone's working, they rely on the school transportation to help them out. And also, since they are small and simple, they don't have the resources to keep the enrollment up. So the schools are allowed to close for lack of funds, whereas a traditional public school cannot close for lack of funds because they are a public school. They need to stay open. So charter schools are proven to be costly in more ways than one. And another aspect of it is they're unjustified, and they're not held to the same standards as traditional public schools. You would think if they're sharing the same funds, they would need to be at the same standards, but that's not the case. So here's a chart showing that according to the Center for Research of Education, that 37% charter schools have performed lower than traditional public schools, and 46% have performed about the same. Only 17% performed above the traditional public schools. So we don't even know that it's proven that the charter schools are not as much effective or the same as traditional public schools. So why are we still promoting and supporting charter schools when we know they're not as effective? So As for standards, the teaching certificates and state testing requirements are different. A teacher does not need to be certified to teach at a charter school. So you're going to send your children to charter schools where the teachers are less experienced and don't have the same certificates and are less value for their children. So this chart shows that in traditional public schools, teachers are about 15 years or more experienced compared to charter schools when they only have 4 to 9 years of experience, or less than 4 years. Wouldn't you want an experienced teacher teaching your child the best education he or she can receive? So also, aside from the teacher experiences, if charter schools don't meet that certain criteria, they can close, which it upsets parents and students, and then you start all over again. So charter schools are unjustified. Also, a downside is they're extremely exclusive. The purpose of public education is to provide an environment with equality and fair treatment regardless of race, religion, gender, etc., intelligence, and charter schools have a rigorous application process and do not accept certain students. For example, since they cannot provide support for special needs students, they won't allow many of them in. They only want the top notch in there because they have to meet those certain requirements, and they need children who they know will meet them to be accepted to their schools. And it's a public education system. Like, you think everyone would be accepted and be able to go in. So they only admit certain numbers, and they only have room for certain numbers. Which comes to my next point, is that the children are discouraged. Not everyone gets into these charter schools. You must apply, write essays, parents' involvement must be there, proof of everything, and they just discourage underqualified students from applying. So they make it seem like, oh, like I'm so much better than you, I got in this charter school and you have to go to the public school. But we're all in the same public education district. So the charter schools require an intense admission process that disappoint the children who do not get chosen from that lottery. And this video here from ABC News shows that this family, some of their children did not get into the charter school, and they're extremely disappointed, and they're fighting for all these spots. Also, this chart shows that as for segregation, most of these charter schools are low-income families or all, as you can see, Black or Hispanic. It's like regressing back. Like, we're equal rights, civil rights here. It should be all diverse, like the traditional public schools. This is from New York City Charter in 2010, as you can see on both the pie charts there. So charter schools are exclusive and discourage students from pursuing their educational goals. So charter schools are costly, they are exclusive, and they are unjustified. I hope you can see that charter schools are hurting our American public education system, and I hope you'll rethink about what will you support in regards to public education. Thank you.